One of my biggest takeaways after 2 games of the Philadelphia Eagles 2025 season is that Howie Roseman is becoming the greatest general manager of all time. I'll tell you why coming up next right here on Locked On Eagles.
You are Locked On Eagles, your daily Philadelphia Eagles podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks so much for making Locked On Eagles your first listen each and every day. Welcome in, Eagles fans, to this Thursday edition of the show. I'm your host, Louie DiBiase. Today's episode is sponsored by PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use our code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. You know, it's interesting. I think there's a lot of takeaways from the Eagles' first 2 games of the 2025 season, getting to 2-0. It's been up, it's been down, up for the defense, I think down for the offense for the most part. But one of my biggest takeaways from this season in a positive light so far has been the fact that we already knew Howie Roseman was the best general manager currently in the NFL. But I think based on what I'm seeing through these first 2 wins, it tells me Howie Roseman is not only the best GM in football right now, but he's becoming maybe the best general manager in the history of the NFL, or he's putting himself in the GOAT conversation for GMs in NFL history. And why do I say that? When you look at the history of Howie Roseman, what makes him great, what makes him special, elite as a GM, you could point to his ability to trade. Like, he started the trade era of the NFL, his aggression, his ability to maneuver up and down the board, his ability to acquire players that nobody else in the league knew was available. Like, he's so tuned in, his creativity with roster building, his open-mindedness of how to build a roster changes all the time. His self-awareness to admit when he was wrong and to admit mistakes and to move on quickly rather than sit on a sunk cost, and when to know that, hey, like, this wasn't the right way to draft. This wasn't the right kind of player to sign. This wasn't the right kind of roster to build. He starts to value different positions as the league changes. With new evidence, he now does care about cornerback, it feels like, more, and safety, and linebacker, and running back. He's creative in the sense that he tries to find market inefficiencies. Where the league is zigging, he's going to zag. There's a lot of things that makes Howie Roseman an incredible general manager. But the one last domino that had yet to fall to really catapult him into that GOAT conversation, the one thing that was kind of his Achilles heel, that was maybe a rare weakness of the best GM in football, was his inability to consistently draft, especially on day 1 and early on in day 2. Like, when you look at Howie Roseman's drafts after he came back in 2016, they were up and down. Like, 2018 was a really good draft class, but 2017 was not. 2016 wasn't great either. I mean, you got Carson Wentz in that trade up the board to number 2 overall, but outside of that, they got Isaac Seumalo, and that's really it. That wasn't an incredible draft class. 2019 was pretty brutal. 2020 got you Jalen Hurts, but outside of that, 2020 was pretty bad. Like, he would hit on a couple prospects, I felt like, every year, especially later on in the draft. But outside of 2018, before 2021, his first 5 draft classes back after returning as GM, they were pretty bad. Like, from top to bottom, from a quantitative perspective, quality, there were some good prospects in there, but the quantity of the class was normally pretty bad until this new Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni era, post-2020. Then Howie Roseman became an elite drafter, and that was really the last domino to fall. Like, if you're a Pokemon fan, there's 3 levels of Pokemon. It felt like Howie was on level 2. To get to that full evolution at level 3, he had to become a great drafter. And I feel like these last 5 draft classes have shown that he's been able to do that. I mean, 2021, he gets, Devontae Smith, then Landon Dickerson, then Milton Williams. 2022, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, Nakobe Dean. And I'm talking early on in the draft because that's where he really struggled. 2023, he gets Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Moro Ijoma, Tyler Steen, Sidney Brown, and Keely Ringo. Like, if Sidney Brown and Keely Ringo are the worst players from that class, you did pretty good for yourself. 2024, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jalix Hunt. Now you look at this year, the two biggest plays that the Eagles made to win two one-possession ball games to get to 2-0, beating the Dallas Cowboys 24-20, beating the Kansas City Chiefs 20-17. The biggest plays made in those games that were all the difference in a win versus a loss came from rookies. It was Jihaad Campbell's forced fumble on Miles Sanders in the red zone when they're only up by 4 points, 24-20 in the second half. And in the second game against Kansas City, it was Drew Mukuba's pick in the end zone when the Chiefs are driving down the field. Only 13-10 is the score. If the Chiefs score there and they're up 17-13, I think that changes the aspect, the entire prospects of that game. The Eagles' ability to win that football game changes dramatically. Now, maybe they still get the job done, but Drew Mukuba made the play of the game. Campbell made the play of the game against Dallas. The Eagles' first two draft picks of the 2025 class have made the two biggest plays that got you your first two wins. And it might be the second year in a row if this trajectory continues in 2025 for Campbell, for Mukuba. This will likely be the second year in a row, at least based on what we're seeing right now. They've been two of the five best defensive prospects as rookies this year in 2025. This could be the second year in a row where the Eagles have back-to-back years where there's two Rookie of the Year finalists on this defense. Last year it was Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. This year, I really think it could be Jihaad Campbell and Drew Mukuba. And when you look at the way Campbell and Mukuba impact the game, it's exactly in the way that would allow you to win Rookie of the Year because they're going to put up sexy stats. Jihaad Campbell is going to impact the game with tackles, with sacks, with pass deflections, with interceptions. He has the sixth highest grade in all of football when it comes to coverage for linebackers. Number 6, which is incredible considering I thought that was maybe his biggest weak point, his biggest area of growth heading into his first year in the NFL. The fact that he's the 6th best coverage linebacker already through 2 weeks is unbelievable. He's actually the second highest graded rookie this year in the entire NFL. Drew Mukuba already has an interception. He already has a sack. He already has a big tackle on third down that led to a turnover. Mukuba's going to fill the box score as well. I think they're both going to be Rookie of the Year finalists. And again, that was the last thing that Howie Roseman, it felt like for years, had not perfected. And now, Mukuba and Campbell are just the latest example of a long list of hits for Howie Roseman. Early in the draft, in the middle of the draft, late in the draft, undrafted free agency. I think Howie's becoming the GOAT. I think you could make the argument already that he's the greatest GM of all time with the way he's built two completely different Super Bowl contending teams, two completely different windows in under a decade is so impressive in its own right. The things he has done for the NFL, the way he has changed the game with trades, moving up and down the board during the draft, trading for veteran players, the aggression that he has shown in free agency, the way the Eagles maneuver the salary cap, even the draft strategies that he's implemented over the last few years. He's completely evolutionized the game of being a general manager in the NFL. And him being an elite drafter now, too, I think it puts him in that conversation. He's already the best GM in football right now. I think you could say he's the GOAT. I really think we're getting to that point, which is really awesome. For the Philadelphia Eagles, what's not so awesome, though, is all of this rhetoric, all of the complaining about the tush push. I kind of want to see it get banned after 2025, but in a positive way for the Eagles. I'll tell you what I mean coming up next right here on Locked On Eagles. Today's episode of the Locked On Eagles podcast is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IIHS top safety pick awards than anybody else. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how they craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, Mazda sweats every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Guys, today's show is also sponsored by 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Every 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste in a tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. For me, it can be, when I was working the overnight shifts at the radio station, doing a late night podcast like tonight, waking up early for the 8 to 5. 5 Hour Energy is so clutch. Even if it's an early tea time for golf on a weekend at 7 a.m., I play intramural football every Saturday morning. I take a shot of 5 Hour Energy, and the flavors are unbelievable. Plus, you instantly feel the energy. It's so fast, and they're sugar-free. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to get your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites that you love or be bold and try something new in-store and online at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon today. All right, guys, we are continuing on this week of shows with Eagles-Rams coming up this Sunday, a 1 p.m. kickoff at Lincoln Financial Field. The Eagles are wearing all white at the Link at home for the first time since the DeMarco Murray quote-unquote revenge game that never was, week 2 of the 2015 season. And a lot has changed in that time span. For the Eagles, one thing that will not waver, despite all of the complaints this week, is that they are going to run the tush push. They're going to run it down your throats until you ban it from the NFL. And I think that is coming at the end of this year. But man, let me tell you, it's kind of pathetic how people just cling on to any new reason to get rid of this I don't want to say it's an irrelevant play because it is unstoppable. The Eagles have perfected something. And in the NFL, they do not like things that are perfected. They like parity. They like unpredictability. They like not knowing what's coming every single play. But at the same time, the Eagles have perfected a play, and they've made it their own, and the NFL wants to see it gone. They pointed to player safety. They pointed to entertainment value. They pointed to a lot of different things last year. They weren't able to get it banned. The Eagles are having success with it. It helped them ice the game against the Chiefs. It helped them score the game-winning touchdown, the game-winning first down. But the fact that people are now pointing to it's impossible to be officiated with this, this play is impossible to be officiated. Just get rid of it. It's doing a disgrace to the game, and the Eagles are only winning because of the tush push. It's just pathetic. If you really think the Eagles are winning because of this 1-yard play that they run 5 to 6 times a game, that just shows your bias. But I kind of want to see it banned. I do want to see it gone after this year. Not because, again, it's unsafe, because that has been proven to be untrue. Not because it's unfair, because nobody else does it to the efficiency of the Philadelphia Eagles. Not because they use it too much. They use it a couple times a game. It does not impact the game the way people say it does. They're not using it 10 times on a drive. It's a 1-yard play that, people are literally saying the Eagles' Super Bowl run of last year, how good they've been in the last 5 seasons is because of the tush push, which is just a ridiculous take, as if they haven't had the number 1 defense in football. They've had A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert in the passing game. They had Saquon Barkley rip off 2,000 rushing yards last year. They have a top-tier mobile quarterback in Jalen Hurts. They have the best offensive line in football. But yeah, no. They have the best general manager, I think, of all time. But no, yeah, it's the tush push. That's the reason. That's the only reason the Eagles are good. And let's get rid of it because it's a farce to the NFL. Get rid of it. Whatever, that's fine. But not for those reasons. For me, I want to see it banned from the NFL because I want to see the Eagles still be just as successful in these short yardage situations as they are now. So it just makes everybody look pathetic. You put up such a fuss for 3 to 4 years over something that you're not going to stop us. It's not going to turn the Eagles back into a pumpkin. I got news for you. If the Eagles run the QB sneak in 2026 at the same clip that they're using the tush push right now in the red zone and 3rd and 1, 4th and inches situations. Guess what? Jalen Hurts squats 600 pounds. Guess what? They still have the best offensive line in football. They're going to get the first down 90% of the time. Maybe there's a few more instances every year where, sure, Jalen Hurts gets stuffed, but I bet 85 to 90% of the time, the Eagles are still going to pick up those first downs with the QB sneak. Why I'm also excited about the tush push getting banned? I think the Eagles are going to come up with something else. I think that Nick Sirianni made me think about this the other day at his press conference when he said, we have other ideas. Like, I do think they have other tricks up their sleeve. Do I know what those are going to be exactly? No. Maybe it's Jalen Hurts, like, running a moving sneak, like he's trying to find the opening. I don't know what it's going to be, but maybe it's Jordan Davis up the gut under center or Jordan Mailata playing quarterback and running a QB sneak. Like, that would be kind of fun. Jalen Carter or a big defensive lineman. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's like the Eagles are the best short yardage offense in the league, not because of the tush push. Like, yeah, it plays a big part. They've perfected this play and they use it a lot in the push. Pushing Jalen Hurts forward, I'm not naive. Of course, it absolutely does help them convert. But if you think it's like the end-all be-all for their short yardage success, their red zone success, if you think it's the end-all be-all for why this Philadelphia Eagles football team is successful, I should say, why they won a championship last year and made it to another in 2022, you're just being bitter. And for me, like, the discourse about it all week has just been exhausting. And I didn't want to bring it up on the podcast, but I started to think about it more, and I'm like, I love that they're going to make people pay for it again this year, and then it's going to go away next year, and they're probably still going to do something equally as effective, and that's going to be really funny, because then what do you do? It's such a massive flex. Like, I love being the villain right now. It's kind of fun. The Eagles are the villain of the NFL. They're in their LeBron James Miami Heat era, where they're kind of like the Kansas City Chiefs now, or the New England Patriots. You know you're getting to another level of success. You're kind of becoming a dynasty in the making, or like the face of the league, when other teams' fan bases, the national media, the league itself, all start to hate you. They all start to make rules about what you're doing. That's a big time flex. So I'm starting to kind of love being the villain. It's pathetic for everybody else across the league, but for the Eagles, like, bring it on. I think that's awesome. And man, I would love if they could get another ring with the tush push. I think that would be phenomenal. And they're continuing to make up more excuses. The offside stuff, like, the Chiefs had 4 guys offsides, it felt like, every single play. It's tough to officiate that stuff, even when it's not the tush push. So even Jason Kelsey said it best this week about that. I would highly recommend his breakdown. Go check it out on his show, on his Twitter account as well. But it's whatever. I love that the Eagles are villains. It's a compliment. It means we're doing something right. And you can ban the tush push next year, but it's going to work this year, and something else is going to work next year. You know what has not been working, though? My LOE3 predictions through FanDuel. I'm 0-6 right now. I promise you I'm going to get back on track this week. I have 3 player props to take for Eagles-Rams coming up next right here on Locked On Eagles. Today's episode of the Locked On Eagles podcast is brought to you by PrizePicks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right means cashing in. With football back, PrizePicks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. I've been playing PrizePicks lately, and it's such a fun way to stay locked in for the season. It's quick, easy, and honestly, my favorite way to follow along with football. You can check projections like Josh Allen for more or less than 270 passing yards. Normally, that's over. Saquon Barkley for more or less than 1 rushing touchdown against the Rams this week. He has their number, as he did in 2024. I'm probably going to take the over on that as well. They have max discounts as well, including Patrick Mahomes for over half a passing yard. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code LOCKEDONNFL. You're going to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. All right, guys, time for LOE3, presented by FanDuel. 3 player prop bets to take every single week for the upcoming Eagles matchup. And look, I'm sorry. I'm 0-6 on the year. I have bought in completely to the Eagles passing game. I thought they would have success against that Dallas secondary. I thought they would have a get-right game against Kansas City. It has not come to fruition. Everybody's going after the Eagles for being a boring product of football. Even Al Michaels tonight on Thursday Night Football, Bills, Dolphins, said that, not all good teams are entertaining, totally taking a jab at the Eagles. Whatever. Again, love being the villain. As if the Eagles have not been an exciting football team for the last 3 years, but, whatever. I do think, though, this is the get-right game. If it doesn't happen this week, I'll stop doing LOE 3. Fine, I'll take it away. If these don't hit, then fade every single bet that I take. Maybe you're going to fade these ones. That would be totally understandable, but I will say, if you look at my record from 2021 to 2024, I do have positive unit shares every single year. I have had, again, I've made you money, even if it's just a little. I've made you money every single year. I promise I'm going to get back on track, and it's with these 3 bets. I have 2 passing bets, 1 rushing. My passing bets are Devontae Smith, over 49.5 receiving yards. That's his over-under right now at -114. Jalen Hurts, over 200 passing yards. Has not happened yet this year. That's at +114. And then I have a same game 2-leg parlay at +232. Jalen Hurts, anytime rushing touchdown. Saquon Barkley, an anytime rushing touchdown. Now, look, I could have got conservative at 0-6. I could have said Jalen Hurts, anytime rushing touchdown. Saquon Barkley, anytime. Don't parlay those. Just take them straight up. Hopefully that will get me 2 wins. Get back on track. I still want to go bold. I still want to make it worth your while to take these bets. Saquon and Jalen Hurts both have rushing touchdowns in each game to start the year. Both had a rushing touchdown. They had 3 combined against Dallas. They had 2 combined against Kansas City. I think they'll hit on that at +232. The Rams are not a great rushing defense. And then I know Jalen Hurts has had under 155 passing yards in both games. But the Rams secondary does not have a Ahkello Witherspoon. Emmanuel Forbes is kind of somebody that A.J. Brown has his number. The Rams secondary is not super talented. It's going to be a nice 75 degree sunny day in Philadelphia. They're wearing all whites. I think they're going to play fast in this game. I'm going to take Jalen Hurts over 200 passing yards, and I'm going to take Devontae Smith over 49.5 receiving yards. I feel like the Eagles have been favoring Devontae over A.J. Brown so far this year to start the season. Now, maybe that's because A.J.'s hurt or not fully at 100%. A.J. says he's not injured. I'm not so sure. But Devontae, they've been having a lot more plays like designed specifically for him. He had more success than A.J. Brown against the Chiefs. If he catches that other deep ball along the left sidelines, he has over 80 to 90 receiving yards in that matchup. Again, the Rams secondary is not great. I think this is a good game for both Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown to have over 49.5 receiving yards. A.J., though, currently is at 63.5. That's his over-under on FanDuel. I got to go a little bit safer here because I'm trying to get some wins for you on FanDuel. So I'm going to go with Devontae Smith because he has a lower over-under, and he's been the more consistent player so far this year. So I'll take Devontae Smith over 49.5 receiving yards. I'm going to take Jalen Hurts over 200 passing yards, and then a same-game 2-leg parlay of Jalen Hurts, an anytime touchdown score on the ground, and Saquon Barkley, an anytime rushing touchdown as well. Devontae's bet is at -114. Jalen Hurts is at +114. And then that 2-leg parlay is at +232. Again, I'm 0-6. It's been mostly because I'm betting on the passing game. But for me, that is going to turn things around. Again, I know the narrative right now across the NFL is that the Eagles are boring and they're cheating and they're getting that New England Patriots treatment. But this offense normally is very entertaining. Even last year when they were running a lot, Saquon Barkley's ripping off on the weekly 70-plus yard rushing touchdowns. They're going to have explosive plays again. They're too talented to not. And I think look at the situation at home, good weather, not a great secondary in LA. They know that they have to get right. Every time that kind of situation presents itself, the Eagles normally have a big performance the following week. I mean, just look at that game last week against Pittsburgh, or last year against Pittsburgh. So for me, I'm going to bet it one more time. 2 of my 3 bets are going to be passing bets for the Birds. If it doesn't hit, fade me the rest of the way until I earn that reputation back. But I'm hoping I can earn that for you guys this week against Los Angeles. All right, that's going to do it for today's edition of Locked On Eagles. Thank you so much for making us your first listen each and every day. Tomorrow we'll have our crossover show with the guys over at Locked On Rams. But for today, that'll do it for today's edition of the show. Make sure, guys, your second listen is the Locked On NFL podcast. The NFL season is finally here. For your second listen, again, get that double dose of the NFL, Locked On NFL pod. Tyler the Madman Rowland gives you a shot of espresso to start your football day, while Tony Wiggins takes you into the barbershop for the smoothest breakdowns to end the day. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Until tomorrow, thank you so much for downloading, watching, and listening, and let's go Birds. Fly, Eagles, fly.